when you're ready to see something that nature wants to show you, it will come to you. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hello, y'all. Hello, good morning. Bom dia. Okay, so it's not early this morning? Yes, hell yeah. But for wildlife, usually it's like this, so I'm pretty used to it. And very excited to go there and see many birds. If we're lucky, maybe toucans, because I really enjoyed them. And that's it, let's go on this adventure. My name is Nicole, I'm 27 years old, and I'm a professional wildlife photographer and guide from Brazil. What I love the most about Brazil is that the most biodiverse country in the world, all the people, the culture, the food, everything. Like, I'm very proud to be Brazilian. São Paulo is a big city. It's the biggest city of South America. But the whole thing is that it crosses this biome that is the Atlantic forest. So biome is a geographical region that has a specific type of plants, animals, and climate.
There are 6 terrestrial biomes in Brazil: Amazon forest, Brazilian savanna, Pantanal, Pampa, Caatinga, and the Atlantic forest, the one we'll be visiting today.
Hi, amigo. Hola. So guys, this is a good friend of mine. He's a biologist. His name is Gustavo Gaspari. He'll be joining us in this adventure, and he's an amazing guy. Super knowledge about birds and every type of animal. So I'm very grateful that he's joining us today.
Thank you, Nicole. Let's go see some birds.
Yes, let's go, my friend.
There are nearly 900 species of birds cataloged in the Atlantic forest. There are over 200 species of fruit trees, and that's why it's so important to have this habitat preserved. The animals really need those trees to be able to feed themselves. Unfortunately, it's the most critically endangered biome of Brazil. There's less than a quarter of the forest remaining, and since it's a coastal biome, that's where all the major cities are.
They just cut down to open land and be able to grow a city, you know? So that's why it's critically endangered. You can really see the texture, like the shine. Today, if we're lucky, we'll be able to see a lot. And for me, if we're really lucky, we'll be able to see the toucans, because I really adore them. I think they are very symbolic of Brazil.
Esse é o periquito verde.
Linda.
Um periquitinho de Mata Atlântica, é bem interessante. Olha, tem um bem aqui embaixo também.
Oh, right here, right close to us. Look at this. Hi, fella. It's very curious. I have a feeling that when you're ready to see something that nature wants to show you, it will come to you. But I always manifest this energy. So our first challenge was to see the toucan, and right there it is.
Então esse é o araçaribananas, que é uma espécie de tucano, menorzinho também da Mata Atlântica. Eles comem bastante semente, fruta.
Lindo.
E é um bicho bem bonito, né, pra fotografar. E é bem difícil de ver esse bicho na natureza, assim.
Pode crer. Hi. Hello. Yeah. Look, the toucan right there.
Aqui tem aqueles... o gavião de penacho.
Pode crer.
Hawk Eagle.
Da hora.
Só que eles ficam nessas árvores destacadas, aquelas mais altas. Assim.
Olhando de cima.
É.
This is lichens.
Yeah, when there are a lot of lichens, means like the air is kind of pure. There's not a lot of pollution. The same with this kind of plants, like the bromeliads, they mean the forest is kind of healthy.
That's really nice. I've born in a city. I didn't grow up going to nature that much. But once I understand how the things work in nature, it surprised me all the time, you know? Like I see plants, I see animals, I see their behavior, and it amazed me. It helps me on the process anxiety. I feel like this is one of the main reasons I do it, because it helps me a lot. You see the hummingbirds? How fast they are. Oh my God, look at this. This is paradise. Beautiful. So right now we found a red-breasted toucan right over there in the treetop with a white background. The ones that I really like. And he's huge actually. You can see right up here. Fantastic. Nowadays we are so triggered with so many things and seeing so many things all the time, and we ended up forgetting this natural pace.
This is all about being alive and actually experience real life and what nature has to provide.
By being in nature, it helps you to regulate. That's what I believe in.
It's not often that you get sunny winter days and then sunny winter days with lots of wildlife. Look, there's a bull elk. This is kind of a classic Yellowstone expedition. Getting up early is not my choice. You have to be on the wildlife schedule, which they are always up super early. But that's why we have coffee. Hi, I'm Riley, and I'm a wildlife photographer. Today we're headed into Lamar Valley in Yellowstone National Park, one of my favorite places on the planet. Yellowstone encompasses 2.2 million acres and sits across 3 U.S. states, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. Today, we'll be exploring the northern range of the park, sometimes dubbed the Little Serengeti of America because it holds one of the highest concentrations of mammals anywhere in the continental United States. Bison, elk, birds of prey, that's what we're shooting for the day. Yellowstone is truly a land of fire and ice. Mountainsides were shaped by volcanic eruptions millions of years ago, and valleys were carved and smoothed by glaciers during the last ice age. The magma chamber that sits underneath the park breathes life into thousands of geothermal features that steam and bubble even as winter blankets the landscape in white. Yellowstone became a national park in 1872 to protect these one-of-a-kind natural wonders. So we just saw a bull elk on the side of the road, and it's not too often that I see these guys in the park. But right now in December, they haven't dropped their antlers yet, so I'm gonna see if I can get a good shot of him just grazing by the side of the road. And he's being very polite and very patient with us. We're in mid-December right now. The ungulates like elk are still doing pretty well. As the winter progresses though, they're not gonna find as much food and the season's gonna get pretty tough on them. Elk will also travel in bachelor herds throughout the winter sometimes to just band together, and that's pretty good defense from predators like wolves. It shows them that they're still pretty fit and not worth the chase. So our mission for the day is to photograph bison. They're one of Yellowstone's most iconic animals. It's 16 degrees, but that's what gets the animals moving. They like the snow and the cold so much better than the heat. I always keep my eye on the riparian areas by the road too, which is basically just where creeks are, and you get water-loving species like willows and aspens. That usually draws in animals. I thought these were coyote tracks because coyotes tend to walk in a pretty straight line, and their tracks are just one spaced after the other. But the more I'm looking over here, the more these are looking like ermine tracks to me. And ermine are basically really small weasels here in the park. They kind of make really zigzaggy patterns just like this as they're looking for small mice and voles underneath the snow. And their tracks as they're leaping through the snow kind of make a little exclamation point. So this is a common raven. They're so intelligent. Oh, and this guy actually has a little GPS backpack on him. So the park put the backpacks on them to see where they go and actually specifically if they're following wolves to carcasses. But ravens, being the geniuses that they are, actually went more towards the trash dumps in Old Faithful and Gardner. They're part of the corvid family, which includes magpies, crows, blue jays, and common ravens are one of the largest. So you'll see them all over Yellowstone, especially in the winter time. They make the craziest sounds. Shooting a bison right now, which is one of Yellowstone's most iconic species. There's about 5,500 of them in the park, and you'll see them in herds all over the place, but especially around here in Lamar Valley. Bison actually love to go up to the road in the winter time because it's the path of least resistance, so why not travel on the roads that snowplows have so politely paved for them? You can see this guy's shoveling snow with his head. And the reason bison have that big hump on their shoulder is just pure muscle to shovel snow just like that, because their head can weigh up to 300 pounds. In all my years coming here, I've never accidentally startled a bison, so I'm gonna try to keep that record nice and clean. Don't pet the fluffy cows when you come to Yellowstone. They can be pretty unpredictable. Right now, I'm definitely not a threat to them, but I still just want to give them their space, give them some respect, and just let them do their thing, because winter can be pretty hard on bison, and I'd try not to contribute to them using up more energy than they need to. I just found a coyote on the side of the road over here. One of my favorites from this encounter is this shot. I love multi-species in a single photo. This also paints a story of Yellowstone where multiple species can coexist together in the same environment. This is kind of a classic Yellowstone expedition. We got bison, we got coyotes, we got ravens. Overall, just a really beautiful day in the park.
Practically, we are in the middle of a city and we can see dozens of owls. So I'm gonna try to take a good shot. This is awesome. I'm Manu Olitsky, I'm 39, I'm a wildlife photographer from Budapest, Hungary. I've been amazed by wildlife for most of my life. I have a degree in zoology. Currently, I work as a biologist, as a researcher. My other big enthusiasm since childhood was photography. Today, we are traveling from Budapest toward the Great Hungarian Plain on the westernmost tip of the Eurasian Steppe. The Eurasian Steppe is the largest temperate grassland in the world, stretching all the way from China to Hungary, and we'll be visiting two small towns, Turkeve and Kisújszállás, to photograph long-eared owls. So I'm pretty excited driving to Turkeve, the so-called long-eared owl capital of Hungary. You might not expect to see owls in an urban environment, but here they find a safe haven from predators in the winter months. In return, the owls control the number of rodents around the town. I think this paints an interesting picture of how humans and wildlife can coexist and even provide for each other. It's also a bit sad to drive around here because route number 4 in Hungary is a hotspot of owls getting hit by traffic. As there's a lot of trash along the roads, this attracts rodents and rodents attracts owls, and they get hit by traffic very often. Mostly long-eared owls, some barn owls and some little owls as well. Planting dense vegetation along the roads can create a barrier which drives owls to cross the roads higher than the traffic. This might be helpful, but we are still pretty far from solving this problem, sadly. Okay, so we're pulling into the parking lot at Turkeve, and I think I already see some owls. Let's get out and check them. Yep, there they are. Long-eared owls roosting on the tree. So far, so good. So this is the first place where we plan to shoot some owls in this quiet street. The owl is hidden back inside the shade of the pine tree, so I'm gonna try to take a good shot. Long-eared owls are the most abundant owls in Hungary, and in the winter they migrate toward the center of the country because voles and mice, their main prey, are available at large abundance in the grasslands. They can't really roost during the day outside of towns in the grasslands because they are exposed to predators like eels and buzzards and goshawks because there's no foliage on the trees. So they move into the market towns of central Hungary and roost inside towns on evergreens like pine trees all day. It's getting a bit chilly here in Turkeve. It's good to have a camo cover on the lens because it warms it up a little bit. Also, it covers the white color of the lens, so it's harder to get noticed when I'm shooting wildlife. This is pretty cool. Practically, we are in the middle of a city and we can see dozens of owls. This is awesome. So this is the largest owl roosting site in Turkeve. There are, I think, at least 50 owls roosting here right now. We have to be really silent and really careful. No sudden movements because they are easily spooked away. It's very obvious long-eared owls are roosting above us because there's a huge carpet of owl droppings and owl pellets under the tree. Owl pellets are like these small things which owls pretty much spit out because they eat their prey, voles and mice, without chewing, without breaking up, and they eat the bones and the fur as well, which they cannot digest, so they just spit them out under the tree. It's very hard to shoot the owls here. The branches are very thick and dense, so it's very hard to get a clear view of the owls. And I'm going for more like a silhouette-like look of the owl. We are very lucky, these are long-eared owls, so their silhouette is very specific because of the tufts on the top of their heads, which are not really their ears, by the way, they are just feather tufts. I think it's a pretty cool look of the silhouette of the owl. So we took some nice portraits of long-eared owls in Turkeve, so now we are driving towards Kisújszállás, the neighboring town, at the local church where owls roost in the nearby trees. We are gonna set up a camera with a wide-angle lens on a tripod. We set up an off-camera flash, and using remote triggers, we aim to take some shots of the owls in flight at dusk when they fly out to hunt. I'm crossing my fingers, maybe we will be able to get this more interesting shot today. Actually, it's very hard to see what my camera sees. I try to do my best. They're getting more and more active now. Sometimes I see them coming my way, and at the last second they turn to the other way. We've been here for like 20 minutes. I think about maybe 40 owls have flown out. So dusk is pretty much over. I'm just hoping that I got everything right, and that's as much as I can control in a shot like this. So I'm pretty happy with these pictures, and it was a fun day. Fantastic to see so many owls. So I think I'm going back to Budapest very happily.
This one looks quite beautiful. We depend on these mountains, these rainforests for our lives. Lovely. Hi, I'm Kalyan Verma and I'm a wildlife photographer from Bangalore, India. I've been photographing wildlife for over 20 years, and I'm going to take you to one of my favorite places on earth, the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats is a mountain range that runs nearly 1,000 miles west of India. And we'll be visiting an area called Valparai in the southern state of Tamil Nadu, Valparai is a mix of forests and tea plantations that were established in the 19th century. It's home to some incredible species like elephants, gaur, and the endangered line-tailed macaque, but also thousands of people employed on the tea estates. I'm fascinated by how these two worlds collide and hope to reflect that in some of my photography today. Some of the wildlife you find here, you don't find it anywhere else on Earth. So these are the bonnet macaques. These are beautiful primates. They are found across the country, but what we're looking for is the line-tailed macaque. Their cousins, much more rarer. Look, the whole family is here. Really cute. Oh, the border right on the road. Look at this beautiful male. He weighs almost a ton. And what's amazing is that they're not really eating the tea leaves. They're just mostly eating the weeds. People really don't mind them here. They're doing the gardening for the tea estate workers. And when they poop, they leave some manure as well. Look at these line-tailed macaques. They're all on the road. Oh my God. That is one of the most endangered primates in the world sitting on our car. Hello there. Let me take some picture of you. Hi. You just need an accessible camera. Come on here. There's an alpha male and alpha female going over there. Both of them have quite a bit of scars. They've been fighting. I mean, for them, in these troops, only the alpha male and the alpha female breed. So that's exactly why this is an endangered population as well. The female usually gives birth to a new one only once every 2-3 years. So it's extremely rare to see a young one in these line-tailed macaques. It's funny, these macaques just want to find some easy food in these houses. It's not ideal for me. I would have loved to photograph them in beautiful rainforest, but this is the reality. So I'm going to see if I can get some pictures which depicts this. This one's with a bright piece of plastic. I think these pictures will have an impact. So sometimes it's just not the pretty pictures of these animals, but trying to showcase them in the changing world that they live in. This place has some amazing wildlife, and from big and small, over 300 species of birds, more than 50 species of mammals. Most of them are endemic. See, look right there. You can see a giant squirrel hanging. It's called the Malabar giant squirrel. It's one of the largest squirrels in the world, and it's just feeding up there. Lovely. It's nice to document this giant squirrel. One of the hardest part of photographing the rainforest is that most of these animals are up in the canopy, and it's just always a struggle. I've been photographing around the world, but what really excites me about this place is the fact that this is where I was born. And for most of southern India, the water I drink at home, back at home, comes from here. So it's really a critical part for most of India, really, I think. And we depend on these mountains, these rainforests for our lives. Just got news that there are a bunch of elephants out in the tea. So let's go get some shots. Wow, there's a beautiful female. Privileged to be with wild elephants like this. Again, in this landscape, they're used to people a bit, so you can come pretty close. There's a female with calf, and there are 4 elephants on the other side as well. It's nice to be able to get elephants in its landscape, because this is not the kind of landscape you associate elephants with. So once she calms down, I want to get this tea estate's beautiful animal in its habitat. I'm just waiting for this female to come to the right position. So I can't go any closer, it's quite unsafe as well. So I'm just going to wait it out for this female, see if she gives a better pose. There's a pretty big herd there, out there in the swamp. But to photograph these elephants, it's quite risky going down there because we're on foot, and if they do get spooked, it can get quite dangerous. So what I will do is I'll use my drone at a safe distance. Let me see if I can get some new perspectives of these elephants. Using a drone to photograph wildlife should only be done if you're extremely experienced and can do so without disturbing the animals. If you see any signs of distress from your subject, you should stop filming immediately. Be sure you understand local regulations and check if you require local license or permit to operate the drone in your location.
See so many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 elephants in there. One of the things I really like about flying drone is that you're able to see from top, which you just can't see otherwise. It's also great to sometimes find them because as this can fly up to 2-3 kilometers, sometimes you just don't know where the wildlife is. I think these days it's a must-have tool for any wildlife photographer. There's a nice herd of gaur here. Oh, look at that. These are the largest cattle in the world. That's pretty big herd of gaur there, and what's really nice is that they're letting me close. But they're a bit too comfortable with me and I'm only getting the back sides. What I'm trying to get is really nice portrait. So it's a matter of stalking them, going as close as possible without actually spooking them. And if 1 or 2 of them look at me, I'll get a nice high level shot. This one looks quite beautiful. Come on, look at me. Lovely. Oh look, there's a big herd coming down. Oh, and there's actually a male in there, way at the back. He's the one I was looking for. He looks big. He weighs at least a ton. He's coming straight towards us, so I'm just gonna hide a bit. The gaur clearly know I'm there, but just don't want it to be in their way. Oh, beautiful. There he is. What a guy, look at him. You can see all the muzzles on his back. Oh, and they're really, really powerful animals, but they're yet so gentle.
Valparai is a home away from home for me. I love coming here to connect with nature and see these animals that don't exist anywhere else on the planet. For me, that's what photography is all about.
I really loved that I could take an image and make people less scared of these reptiles and amphibians.
Get those colors.
My name is Hallie Cowan Barrera. I'm 22 years old. I currently live in South Carolina, where I'm doing a master's degree in wildlife and fisheries. Today, we're heading to Spring Island in South Carolina on the east coast of the United States. Spring Island covers an area of about 3,000 acres and is made up of diverse ecosystems providing habitats for a wide range of wildlife, including some of my favorite reptiles and amphibians. Spring Island is a unique ecological treasure characterized by a mix of maritime forests, salt marshes, freshwater ponds, and longleaf pine savannas. There's a lot of places that have these habitats, but not a lot of places that have them all in one area or so close together.
Hey Tony! This is Tony, wildlife biologist and educator here at Spring Island, and today he's going to be helping us find some photography subjects.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is get out in the nature preserves and flip some cover boards and just see what we can find.
Great, let's do it! Today we're looking for some macro subjects, so subjects that have some details that people wouldn't normally see. We're hoping to get up close and personal with them. I really specialize in herp photography, so reptiles and amphibians, and snakes are definitely some of my favorite subjects, so I'm hoping to see a few snakes today. But we're just gonna see what we can find.
So Hallie, this is one of my study sites. We have about 13 different species of snakes in this area, so let's go check it out.
We're gonna be flipping this board. Usually snakes will be under these because they're trying to find like little rodents and other things that might be underneath to feed on, because it's a good hiding place and also because it's nice and warm in the sun. That metal is conducting heat. During my time in undergrad, which I did in Florida, I started seeing more snakes and lizards and alligators, and I realized these were the subjects I wanted to study. And then as I started to study them, I Started to photograph them just taking my camera out with me. The camera was just a way for me to focus my mind on the things that I loved about them and share that with other people. Maybe in turn make people less scared of these reptiles and amphibians.
Oh, look right here. Look right there. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, that's nice. I can't reach it. I'll hold this up, yeah.
Handling wildlife is not something you want to do unless you're properly qualified and have a reason to do so. We handle the snakes on Spring Island for research purposes and for outreach. We know how to do it without causing the animals distress.
Get those colors. So this is a corn snake, native to the southeast US. They're really sweet and pretty variable. They can be like anywhere from these like nice orange and reds to like brown. So pretty.
You look at the male reproductive organs are in the base of the tail. And so what you can do is you can just feel the tail and tell if it's a male or female. Females have a shorter, pointier tail. Males have a longer, thicker tail at the base. Boy, that's a nice little snake.
It's really nice. So usually when I want to pose a snake, I try to find somewhere a little clearer with not so much grass. We want to keep an eye on it and keep it so that we can return it to where we originally found it, so that it can stay in its microhabitat and it has its burrows that it likes to stay in and it doesn't get confused by a new area. Oh, he's going in my hair. All right, so we're going back to the board where we found him. We just want to make sure we put him back in his home.
So the reason we have these, we've published a couple scientific papers here. This is just a good way to have access to snakes for other research. And also we use them for education. So there's nothing better than taking a kid out in the habitat, letting them catch a snake for themselves or see it firsthand. There's a black widow right here.
Oh.
Try and photograph that.
Yeah, so here we have a black widow. So it's a species of venomous spider. So poisonous is like you eat it and you die. Venomous is it bites you and I guess you don't necessarily die, but it's bad.
You shouldn't attempt to photograph venomous spiders without the appropriate experience and safety precautions in place. I'm maintaining a safe distance from my subject, and I have a clear exit if I need to get away. And also, people around me can help me in case of a spider bite.
I think I got it. Photographing a ground skink.
Ground skinks are fossorial species, which means they like to hide under the leaf litter. They're really hard to photograph, mostly because they move so much. So it's really fun to see them under cover boards and be able to take some macro photos of them.
We're gonna go photograph a dwarf salamander that they found. A little tiny salamander.
That's a neat little species.
Yeah. Did you catch it? Look at you guys. So we just found this dwarf salamander, and now we're gonna photograph him on this piece of bark because the bark is like a little bit lighter, so it'll be a nice contrast with his darker color.
I love interacting with nature, and part of this is bringing more awareness to species people don't often think about or avoid. No matter how big or small, these animals have a role to play in our ecosystems that are all important.
It's always a pleasure coming back just to take images and share with everyone the beauty of the ocean. My name is Anthony Chemunyango. I am a wildlife photographer from Nairobi, Kenya. Today, we are going to Kisite Mpungute Marine National Park, which is one of the best places to photograph sea life in Kenya. The reserve is found off the south coast of Kenya and around the islands of Kisite and Mpungute, and is Kenya's largest protected marine habitat. It is home to about 250 different species of fish, more than 50 types of corals, as well as sea turtles, dolphins, and much more. So Kisitem Pungute is one of the marine national parks in Kenya and one of the high biodiversity parks in Kenya. So it's mostly loved by so many people for diving. The reason why I love Kisite is that it was the first time I ever dived or even swam. And at that time, I didn't know much about the oceans, but the first time I went underwater, I saw the beauty of the corals and the fish. It's always a pleasure coming back just to take images and share with everyone the beauty of the ocean. Today we're gonna see what types of corals are there or fish we're gonna find. I'm looking forward to seeing probably the stone corals, the snappers, the sea cucumbers, and just see the beautiful structures of the coral landscape. This is a school of the red-eye fish, also known as the moontail bullseye. What is so interesting about this particular fish is that when they turn red, they're actually showing that there is a predator around. And they use these colors to camouflage into the coral. That is just something that is amazing to see when you're underwater. And you can get images in the red color and in the silver color. The sweetleaf fish are just amazing fish when you see them underwater. And you can see their colors, the yellow and spotted black just makes them beautiful, but some of them actually have striped black colors. And there are over 30 species of this particular fish. The reason they are known as sweetlips is because of their thick lips, which are bright yellow on this particular species. Sea cucumbers are much easier to capture than fish because they don't move so fast. These slow-moving echinoderms crawl along the ocean floor, feeding on tiny particles of organic matter like algae, planktons, waste materials. They act like natural vacuum cleaners of the sea. We may not have seen any today, but this park is famous for its turtle population. Green and hawksbill turtles are usually spotted a short boat ride from where we are today. It is also home of two species of dolphins, the bottlenose and the humpback dolphins, which are both residents year-round. When I come to sites like this, I want to see beauty, but I find devastating massive coral bleaching. This is because the water is getting warmer. And when the water gets warmer, the corals start getting stressed. And when they get stressed, they remove these algae that give them the color and nutrients. It's a bit scary, but again, I need to tell that particular story. And taking pictures and sharing that story is very, very important. But there is a hope because there are conservationists who are working to actually actively restore reefs by growing resilient corals in nurseries and then transplanting them onto damaged reefs. This just gives a glimpse of hope for the future of our oceans. So the ocean to me is a peaceful place, and it allows me to just tell stories of biodiversity beyond the land that everybody knows about. But it was beautiful. I'm happy there were some fishes in most of the corals that we thought were depleted. But at least we still have life, even if the corals was bleached. Yeah. When it comes to the ocean, not so many Africans have had a chance to even dive or even come closer to the beaches. So when you share these particular images, there's so much wow in the faces of Africans in how beautiful these images are. And I kept on doing this to show them how beautiful the ocean is and how useful it is and we need to conserve it. But there's so much happening underwater.